I've already kind of made videos like this where I'm super excited about the Snapdragon X Elite chips that are supposed to be coming later this year in 2024. The unfortunate reality right now is we don't know which device manufacturers are going to be taking advantage of this, or I'll say putting those chips in their laptops or their desktops. And even when we find out, we don't know what models will be using those chips. Will Dell, for instance, put it in their XPS line? Like that would be nice. Will Lenovo put it in their X1 Carbon line? That would be nice. I'm not a huge fan of HP. I know they have the Spectre or whatever. Asus has the ZenBook line. And I'm missing other companies. I know that I am. But even if all of them adopted it and then they put it in one of their budget low-end machines or something, like, it would degrade the overall experience. We're hopeful that this chip has the power that Qualcomm has been bragging about. We hope that it has the efficiency. We hope that it has the battery life. We want that trifecta when we were talking about the chip. However, as I've said in other videos, it's more than just the chip. The whole experience has to be worth it. So if Dell did put it in their XPS line, that would be great. But if they decided to put it in their Inspiron line, no. I'd say I'm not compromising my overall level of enjoyment by buying an Inspiron. Not that there's anything wrong with them, but I just feel that if you look at all of their product line, you have the Latitude, you have the XPS, you have the Precisions. The Inspiron is definitely your consumer grade home use computer. Heck, my brother just bought one last week. And yeah, I recommended it to him because I could tell he wasn't willing to pay a little more money for a better machine from Dell, from one of the other product lines. Now again, nothing wrong with Inspirons, but if they put a Snapdragon chip in there, I'm not buying it. So there's that. Same thing with Lenovo. Yes, it'd be nice if they put it in their X1 Carbon. If they put it in their T14, maybe. I think it'd be a nice candidate for their Z13 or Z16. But if they come around and Lenovo puts it in their L318 or, their L series or their E series, I'd say no. I'm not going to go down that line. And again, for all of the other companies with their, their high-end models, their mid-range, and then their consumer grade ones, we don't know where these chips are going to fall in those stacks. So as I'm thinking about that, and as we continue to wait, because I think it's going to be either the summertime or maybe even early fall, because I'm pretty sure I saw somewhere online that Qualcomm and whoever is looking forward to the back to school time to provide these things. And I said, still waiting. I don't want to do that. Now, regardless of the amount of time that's going to continue passing before the things are actually released, I kept coming back to the fact that even though those things are probably going to be worthwhile, for the last, 2.5 or so years, let's just say 2 years, and I don't want to admit it, but the best machine to run Windows on ARM probably already exists and possibly will continue existing even after these other chips or these other devices are released. It'll be the same machine is what I'm saying. And those, unfortunately, are these MacBooks. Yes, I know when these were released, there really wasn't much to do in terms of putting Windows on this. Boot Camp no longer worked, but now we have things like Parallels, which has been around for a while, but once Parallels got everything together for Apple Silicon, you can install Windows on this to run, I think, either in parallel with macOS or kind of separate as a true virtual machine over here doing its own stuff. So, and I wish I had the Apple up this whole time, but everything that I was mentioning before in terms of the overall user experience, again, even though I don't like admitting it, Apple doesn't really compromise for the most part. So, the screen on all MacBooks are good. So whether you get this MacBook Air, whether you get the 14 or 16-inch MacBook Pro, And yeah, I forgot the 15-inch MacBook, but that exists as well. You can get the iMac, great screen. The screen is very important. And for all of those other devices, all those other Windows machines that I mentioned, if it's not the top of the line for their product category, there's a chance that the screen is not going to be great. You're going to have to go into the configurator and choose a better screen. So with the X1 Carbons and with the XPSs, you're going to get a good screen, and then you can get a better screen if you want to. Same thing with the Z series. You can get a good screen, but if you want a better screen, you can get a better screen. But with the L and the E series for the ThinkPads, it's been a while since I've taken a look at those particular models on Lenovo's website, but there's no guarantee that you're going to get a great screen. Same thing with the Inspiron line. You can potentially get a good screen, but it's still not going to be as good as what comes on those other products. And then, of course, there's the chance that you just get a bad screen, which most people probably aren't really paying that much attention to. So the screen definitely could be an issue. The overall build quality, these things are solid metal. I'm going to assume aluminum, and it's nice to hold. Sometimes it's a little cold, but it is a sturdy device. And I can't say the same for all of those other products in the Windows realm. So that's another thing to consider as well. Speakers. These speakers are good. Okay, they are still laptop speakers, and they are good. However, when you go to the, let's say, 16-inch MacBook Pro, those speakers are really good for a laptop. And again, going back to the comparison of Windows machines compared to Macs, there's no guarantee that any of the product line that you're going to get when talking about Windows machines are going to come with great speakers. The keyboard on Macs are good. I have no complaints with the keyboards, whether it's this Air or that Pro. If you got the Magic Keyboard, which is, separate because you got, an iMac or something, but no complaints with the keyboard. I don't mind typing on I have a Dell Precision upstairs. I don't mind typing on that keyboard, but I've had some pretty crappy ones as well. Dell, Lenovo. Lenovo's are usually okay. I don't really want to say they're bad. But you have different ones. I'll tell you that. So with Apple, you're going to get a consistent experience across the product line, and it's a good experience. Right beneath the keyboard, you have the trackpad. Now, it's a haptic trackpad, and I don't know why my tone changed, because it's a really good trackpad. It doesn't physically move, so that's something that you get used to after a while, and you're like, oh wow, I'm pressing it, and it feels like it's moving, but no, I'm actually just getting the haptic feedback. So whether it's the Air or the Pro, you're getting a good trackpad. Can't say the same for any of the Windows computers. I do know some of them have switched to haptic trackpads. Not saying that you need a haptic trackpad to have a good experience, but you can just have crappy trackpads, regardless of whether it's a haptic or an actual springboard one. Within the keyboard layout, you have Touch ID, which, yes, Touch ID is Apple's name for a fingerprint reader. It's been on the iPhone for a while. Of course, now Face ID is going to be the predominant thing. But in terms of reliability on the MacBook, Touch ID almost works instantly. I don't want Face ID on this. Some people say, oh, well, you got the notch. You should go ahead and put Face ID. No, it is almost instantaneous every single time. And with all of the Windows machines that I have, none of them are as consistently good as Touch ID on the Mac. So that's another experience that is universally good on these products. And of course, talked about battery life, talked about performance, talked about efficiency. With Apple Silicon, you're getting all of that. In the Air, you're getting it in the Pro. Of course, with the Pro, it's designed to do a little bit more, so the chip is going to be a little bit more capable. But overall, this machine, again, I hate to admit it because it's Apple and Apple does what Apple wants to do. It is just an overall great experience. And my prediction, unfortunately, is that even with the release of the Qualcomm chips, as a result of poor implementation from device manufacturers, the best Windows machine in fall of 2024 is still going to be the Mac.